Okay, so what I'm going to do today, it's on DD here. I was having some trouble shifting it. As I said before, had to adjust her clutch, but I was doing all sorts of adjusting of the clutch and all kinds of things, and couldn't stop this car from grinding in absolutely every gear. Not just a little grind, but it's like the gears were not stopping. So I'm going, oh dear, so what's going on now? So I got on the VFF Vintage Ford Forum. I just met a whole bunch of really fabulous guys on there, just wonderful. And they gave me all kinds of really good advice and stuff like that. But all the stuff one thing they said to me, they said several times, they said, are you sure that the car is idling down when you shift? And I go, yes, it is. There's no obstruction, everything's working just the way it should. And Dee Dee actually here was idling the same or maybe even a bit slower than Frankie over here. Frankie, I have no trouble shifting, because when she's cold, I'll keep the idle up a little bit higher so she doesn't stall on me. As she shifts, she's fine. So anyway, to make a long story short, I got in touch with my club. By the way, make sure if you have Model A, join a club. These guys are fantastic. The whole Model A family are wonderful people. They're just really super people. And, I feel really blessed to be able to communicate with these people. Anyway, I was talking to one of them, and the guy said to me, well, he says, we've got this gentleman in the club who does work on our cars. So I called him up. Nice gentleman. He's a little bit older than me. Knows a lot more than I do, so that's great. So he came over, and this gear thing was going on for quite some time. I tried several times to get this thing to work right, and I couldn't do it. It's just like weeks, I guess, maybe longer than that. So he comes over and gets in the car, and I start up, and says, okay, you take it for a drive, and I'll watch what you're doing. So, I took it out. Of course, it ground, just like before. Backed it out and got down the street, maybe 50 yards. And he says, okay, he says, let's take it back up in the garage. So took it back up, and he's, just outside the garage. Well, actually, down on the flat. So he gets out, and he gets a screwdriver, and he does adjusting of the idle. Gets it idling down. Okay. So then he says, mind if I take it for a drive? I said, no. So I got on the passenger side, and he gets it up, starts it down the street, shifts it from first to second, second to third. No grinding. So I had the idle up to high. Well, Dee Dee, she likes the idle really, really low, or she's going to grind her gears. Now, I've never run across that before, so I learned something. You got to keep that idle really low. Maybe I've never had one that's as fresh as this one, as this car. So that could be part of it. I'm not sure. Anyway, so that problem is solved. But in the meantime, he said to me, actually when I started up, I developed a leak in my where the exhaust pipe goes into the manifold. They'll leak there sometimes. Well, it sounded like a tractor. So I said, obviously I've developed this leak, so we look at it, and he was saying, well, he says, I said, so what do you do to stop, leaks happening there? Because I don't know about you guys, but getting these things, to shove that up in there and get that clamp around there and get it from not leaking, I've always had a tough time with that. Frankie, I got the sleeve, and I put the sleeve in there, and then I wrapped it with the asbestos kind of cloth. I don't know if it's asbestos anymore. Probably not, because they shouldn't be selling asbestos because it's dangerous for you. And it seems that one seems to be okay, doesn't seem. But he says, look, he says, he says, take this foil. I'm gonna get what he's talking about here. I haven't done this yet, but I'm certainly going to. So he says, get this aluminum foil. So I went to my local hardware store, great store by the way, and I picked myself up some of this. Aluminum foil tape. He said, what you do, he says, take this, cut yourself a strip of it, and cut it down the middle, wrap one piece around, but make sure you don't, and then wrap the second piece around, but make sure that you just scoot it over. You don't, it's like when you're laying a floor, you don't butt the next one and then the next one, make the seam right in the middle, so you kind of overlap a little bit. And he says, I put the clamp on, he says, that'd be good. I've never done this before, so I'm going to be doing that today as well. We're going to put that foil on and see if that actually stops that leak from there. That's one thing to do. And then when he was here also, he was saying to me, you need to get yourself a marble carburetor. So I said, oh yeah? He says, yeah. Because that's the only thing I run on my cars. So he gave me the number of a guy that rebuilds these things. Here's probably a lot of you know all about this. I hadn't heard about it before. So here's this marble carburetor. This guy rebuilds, he does a beautiful job. And he says you just bolt this right in. He tests every single one of them. And he says with this, he says they'll stall. When you come to a stop real quick on the Zenith, she'll sometimes stall on you because the gas slushes up to the front and apparently moves away, and the idle jets on the far side, so the gas moves away and she goes down on you. Well, on the Zenith carburetor, the float is this way. So when she stops, it works this way. But on these, the float's that way. So when it stops, it doesn't make any difference. The float's going to stay there. But these don't do that. He says, these, he says you can idle them down. So we're going to find out. And he's done a beautiful job, so we're going to install this as well. Okay, so I'm going to do this. This is a marble carburetor. And then the other thing I found out, I took the plate off, the plate where you can lube your throwout bearing. Well, as I was looking at it, I saw the spring in there, and I thought, well, that spring doesn't look right from what I can remember. So sure enough, I reached down in there and I took the spring, and it was broken. One end of it had broken off, the end that goes to the back and hooks on, so it pulls the throwout bearing back. That was broken. So I'm going to put one of those in today. That throwout bearing, that's the spring, is that. And this little one end of it, this little clip on this end, whichever end, no matter, broke off. So we're going to try and put that on today. So I've got to reach in that little hole and get a mirror, try and hook it on, and then pull it and hook it on the other side. This thing is really strong. I think we're going to have a tough time getting this on, but that's the plan for today. I think once I get that all done, put some more gas in her, button her up, that she should be good to go. And we're going to take it on a drive. Whether I'll get that drive done today or not, I don't know, but I'm going to take you all with me. I'm going to take Dee Dee out for her drive. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna get going. Okay, so we got this little spring here, and I've got to try and unhook it. I know you can't see it right now because I can't show it to you because I got to work on it, but I started to try and pull it out of there, and then I suddenly realized if I get that unhooked and my pliers let go, we're going to lose that spring and it's going to drop down there, and then we got all kinds of trouble. So I'm going to use some zip ties, and I'm going to put a zip tie through it. Okay, so I got a zip tie here. Put that up here. Now, if I get stupid, I shouldn't lose it. Let's see if we can get this thing off of here. I tell you, this thing is not. There we go. Okay. So I got the spring in. I'll zoom in there a little bit. Okay. Well, I got that spring in. I tell you, that was some hard work. But I'm not happy with it. The spring on the end comes up and it turns at not a right angle, a little bit, it's not 45, but they're straight and straight. Now, I was looking online and I was seeing some of the other springs, and I saw one that had a round end on both ends. I think that's going to work better. This one, I had to kind of bend it, and then I had to put a little hook on the end of it, because there's no way you can get that to go inside. I suppose if you didn't have the transmission hook to it and it wasn't on and all that kind of stuff, you could put the spring in the throwout bearing first and then stretch it and shove it in at the back there, because that would be a straight in deal, and that would probably be okay. But doing it this way, you can't do it that way, because there's no way in God's green acres that you're going to be able to put that one that's underneath in that slot if it's hooked in the front, because it springs too much tension on it. So if you're going to put one of these things in while it's in the car, I think, look around. I'm going to order one, and I'm going to try and put that one in with a round end rather than that. It's a little bit greater than 90 degrees. So it's about sort of like that. Instead of like this, it's just a little bit like that. Where you got like a little tiny bit of space where it has to hook into before it's pushing up against the throwout bearing. So you can't get it in there. You can't twist it and put it in. It just won't go in. So I don't care for these springs at all. Like I say, if it's apart and it's out of the car, you probably could do that and it won't be any trouble at all. You'd probably be very happy with it. I don't know. I don't think I'd be happy with it anyway. I think the round one is going to be better. So I'm going to go online. I'm going to order one of those, and I think what I'll do is I'll put this one in. I've got a piece of wire hooked to it right now, because I'm not sure it's not going to break again. I've used the clutch a couple of times, but I only put a little tiny hook on it, because the hook is the only thing, a little tiny bit of hook, but it had to go between the holder for the spring and the like this, and then the bearing is right here, and there's only a little tiny bit of space there. If you had something round, you could hook it in, but when it's straight, it ain't going in. So I put a little tiny hook, just enough, so I could just barely get it between here. I had to manipulate a little bit get it between here, and I got it in the hole, and it hooked in there, and it's in there, and it's staying there. But that ain't the way it's supposed to be. I'd like a little bit more meat on it. I don't know how much, you know, I used the clutch a couple of times and saw it working, and it seemed all right. But anyway, I got a piece of wire on it, and I'm just gonna take it and put it outside the cover, you know, just, and I've threaded through the spring itself, so if it breaks, it ain't gonna go flying and go dropping down inside. I'm gonna be able to, you know, pull it out. And I'll keep it that way until I get the new spring, and then I'll remount that. So that's a long story, but anyway, that's what will happen. So now I think I'll take a look at maybe the carburetor or the manifold. Get back at you. Well, as you can see, it was blowing by here. Right in here. It's black. You can't quite see it in there, I guess, but it's black in there. One of the clamp bolts wasn't even tight. I mean, it was just sloppy in there, so probably had something to do with it. I have a jack underneath it, holding it up in there. So now we're going to cut that tape, and we'll put that on there, or that aluminum foil, and we're going to wrap it around and put the clamp back on and see if that does it. So cut the tape. These are the two halves, so it was like so. I just cut it down the middle. You got to peel off this white backing here, and then you apply it. Okay, so we've got it on there like that. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can have a look, but you can see. There you go. Well, we got her all clamped on there, and that's how she looks. Looks pretty good. So when I was putting it on, it felt like that was a pretty good seal. So, well, we'll find out. I've got the carburetor off, so we're going to put on the new one and see how that one is. The Marvel. I'm kind of anxious to try that. All right. Okay, so I tried that foil around there on the muffler, and away it goes. The exhaust pipe goes into the manifold. Excuse me. I didn't do it right, but it didn't work at all. I mean, it just leaked like crazy. So I went online and did some more investigating, and we're gonna try some different stuff. So I've got it apart again. I took it off. But I've got the Marvel carburetor on there, so it just bolts right up in there. But you gotta change the fuel line here, because the Marvel comes out further, so you have to rebend that, and that was just a little bit of doing, but you can do that. Okay, so here's the Marvel right there. As you can see, this line here, it has to go in a little bit further, and then I have to rebend right down here because it comes out this far, and then the hood won't close. So we did that. Okay, and there's my exhaust pipe and manifold. So we're going to try some different stuff on that today and get that all sealed up. And hopefully we'll be good to go. Alright, so this is the stuff I'm going to put around the top of the exhaust pipe and that little dish area. I'm going to put that all in. which is the optimum max temperature gasket maker. 27038. We're going to put that in. And then after that, we're going to be putting some of this around, which is JB Weld muffler seal. And it has a resist temperature up to 850 Fahrenheit when fully cured. So we're going to put that in, and that's going to go in the donut that goes around and clamps it in, so that should hold that. So we're going to give that a go and see how it works. Okay, folks, also I have a sleeve to put in. Came out of it, and I've used it on my other Model A on Frankie, so I'm going to put this one in here. Okay, so let me zoom in. So here's that gasket maker stuff I put around there. And now I'm going to just pop the sleeve in. Over this anti-seize here. I'm going to put that on the bolts because it's steel and brass, and we don't want them to seize up on us at any time. So what we have with these halves, they're filled with that muffler cement right there. Well, there you go, folks. She's all buttoned up. Got that in there. Hope she doesn't leak. I'm going to leave it sit for maybe 24 hours before it started. I want that muffler cement to set up a little bit. You can apply heat to it, they said, and that will help it. But you know, I'm not in a rush. No big deal. So we got that. Well, there it is. This is after it's been sitting for at least 24 hours, maybe longer than that, 24 hours. Okay. And there's the Marvel carburetor. Now, like I say, you have to rebend that fuel line here, this fuel line. What I did is I straightened it out, curve out, and then I recurved it. But I took it back, and then you can see the angle here instead of being straight down, because it's shorter. It's shorter this way, and it sticks out further, so it's in the way of this. It comes out past that, but now it doesn't. Then I also put on a oil filter, so that's good. So once we get that all done, we'll put the floorboards in, put the mats in, get her all squared away, and we'll take her out for a run, put some gas in it, take her out for a run and see how she goes. I want to take you all with me on that first run. So you all have a blessed evening, and thanks for watching.